but when I would like go to basketball camps or soccer camps, I would be the only black girl, and I felt like a raisin in a popcorn bag. That's, the analogy I always used. And I mean, it was difficult to deal with because it's hard not seeing anybody else around you, especially for me playing soccer. Everyone's like, okay, you play that because you're white, because black girls don't play soccer. And it really is very awkward that you don't. But I know one time, a lot of names I got called Oreo. I called the Inside Out Oreo, especially in elementary school because I, talked proper at times. And I was, until probably about 5th grade, I was the only white girl in the school. So when black kids came in from the hood areas, I wasn't used to seeing them. They weren't used to seeing a girl like me. It was just a different adaptation at first. But I mean, it's something you gotta get used to.
Probably, I guess, a misconception that people have had that, like, I automatically have the ability to fit in, I guess, with either race, like black or white. Like, it's automatic acceptance, I guess, because I have both sides, I guess. But that, I don't know, that's not necessarily always the case. So yeah, in terms of stereotyping, that's been a big thing. Like, I don't have like issues that certain students face because, like, I might not have face the same problems as black students because of my white side or whatever. I may not have the same issues that white students have because I'm black too.
Okay, the first time I was ever called any names is when I lived in the South, and it's very stereotypical, but that's when it happened. When people finally did start accepting that I was multiracial, I was called Oreo, and I was called Zebra. And when they found out that my dad was from Egypt, I was referred to as a sand nigger, which was very offensive. And it was just kind of mind-boggling to me because it was just like, why are you like calling me names because of who my parents are? It didn't make any sense. I came from just growing up in the North and being raised in a multiracial family and being raised in a very liberal background. I wasn't familiar with that kind of language and like that kind of I guess attack on your identity. And so it was really hard for me to kind of not just jump down people's throats when they said stuff like that, but now I chalk it up to ignorance and lack of education. But yeah, I was called things like that. And I guess with stereotypes, I am often referred to as black because my cultural identity, I would say, is African American. I grew up in African American neighborhoods. My father, not the biological one, but the one I grew up with, is African American, and most of my good friends are African American, and just the kind of culture I grew up in is that of an African American background. So even like my biracial friends will be like, "Oh, you're black," and people like we'll be talking, I'll be like, "Yeah, they don't like me because I said this or that," and they're like, "It's because you're black," and so like. It's just in joking and in passing, but they attribute certain stereotypes to me because of where I grew up or how I grew up, and it's not because of how I look, but it's still about race. So.
Also, another negative experience that I've had in my life has been when I was in high school, and I lived in a small town in Wisconsin where there's predominantly white people, and the only other race there is Hmong people. And prior to moving there, I had no idea what a Hmong person was, and people in my hometown kind of think that everyone that looks Asian is Asian, and they don't set it apart from the different races that they really are. So they would call me in a joking way, "Oh, you're Hmong or something," and I'm like, "What the heck are you talking about?" And I don't know, it's just really negative, and it made me feel really self-conscious, I guess, and wanting to separate myself more from those people. So I guess in a way I didn't become friends with among kids because I didn't want to self-identify like that or have other people self-identify me like that. So I feel bad about that now looking back at it because I shouldn't have let other people influence how I made friends or how I felt about other people.
I really haven't heard the term like used for like to describe me, like mulatto. I heard my stepmom use the term to describe herself. Like, so I don't know if she thought of it as a derogatory term, and that's why I never really thought of it as a derogatory term either. But I think that now that I know, like, the context of it is kind of derogatory. Like, I don't know, like, I mean, if a person's comfortable with me that being used to describe them, I guess it'd be all right. But like, I haven't really been like described as that myself.
Growing up, I thought mulatto just meant a mixed person. I didn't realize that it was a derogatory term. I thought it just meant mixed people. You know, no big deal. I didn't know it was like probably as bad as calling a black person an N-word. So I just learned that a couple minutes ago. But I guess mulatto is actually a very negative word that should not be used.
Actually, I heard of mulatto like in textbooks before, like sort of outdated stuff. The first time I actually heard someone say it was actually one of my friends who was white, and she said mulatto. And honestly, I didn't really know what to think about it. To me, it just seemed like one of those outdated terms, but I didn't get offended by her using it. I just told her that usually people say mixed or biracial.
Mulatto pisses me off. It has been said to me in the South, mostly, or from people coming from small towns, even in the North. I've always been told by my mom that it's a derogatory term. She's always went off on people that have referred to her kids as mulatto. And so I know the history behind the word as well, and I read a lot of books about. I read a lot of racial dramas and a lot of memoirs and things that just kind of bring up different, I guess, viewpoints and things that have been dealt with surrounding language and terms to do with race. And so the term mulatto really makes me angry, and it has been used. People are like, so you're mulatto, or she's mulatto, and I'm like, what did you say to me? Like, what did you say about me? What did you call me? Like, and I think the people that use it they think it's politically correct, like you said, and it's so wrong. Like, I don't understand how they think that's politically correct, because that's ridiculous. But yeah, it makes me very angry. It's not a term that I'm fond of at all.